This episode of Toes on the Line is brought to you by Thorn. To receive 20% off any Thorn product, it's simple. Go to my Twitter or Instagram, shoot me a follow, regram or retweet the episode, send me a DM, and I'll send you a link. Welcome to the Toes on the Line podcast. I'm Gio Grassi, and today I'm bringing on Penn State strength and conditioning coach Kristina Jeffries. I don't want to mess that one up. Coach, listen, we met at CSCCA this year. We're mutual friends. Appreciate you, having the time to even get on. I know the summertime can be either one, busy or two, full of freedom. So appreciate you, taking some time to get on here and talking about what you do over there at Penn State.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no doubt. So if you want to talk about your background, I don't want to botch it. I don't want to create the short version. Take your time. Talk about where you've been, how you got to where you're at now, and how you got into strength and conditioning in general.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got into strength and conditioning, kind of piqued my interest in high school. So I'm coming up on 20 years outside of high school, which is terrifying to me. But I had a great strength and conditioning coach in high school. And back then, I feel like maybe they were kind of few and far between, but he was absolutely phenomenal. And that's kind of where I really started to get into lifting. And I was a thrower as well. So more of a weightlifter than a thrower, to be quite honest with you.
What event?
I was shot put, javelin, and hammer in college.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. So by default, I think I was javelin because I was the smallest one on the team.
Okay, I was about to say you got a mix of like hypermobility and like strength, like hell strength, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
It doesn't make a good athlete. It just makes a pretty all right thrower.
A tough ass thrower.
Yeah, there you go, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so my undergrad is from the University of Findlay. Amazing experience there. That's where I continued throwing in college. I have a degree in strength and conditioning with an associate's in athletic training. So did my 4 years there, started out doing some personal training while I was in school because I felt like that would, lead me to be able to run a group. I did some group training and stuff like that.
Okay.
After graduation, I knew like every strength coach I knew played football. And I was like, well, man, I didn't play football, obviously. So what am I going to do? So I wanted to go somewhere to intern for a year or two, however long it took, where I could work with as many programs as possible, including football. Right. So that I emailed out a lot and ended up landing at Tennessee State University. And that's where I met Chuck Losey. He was the director at that time. Later on, we added Alvin Futrell, and it was like the three amigos from that point on.
Okay.
So I ended up, Chuck had me as the very first graduate assistant at Tennessee State. So I ended up being there for 3 years with him. During my last year there, he accepted a role with Vanderbilt football. That's his alma mater.
Okay.
And that's when James Franklin took over as the head coach at Vanderbilt. So it was him. Dwight Galt was the director at the time, and Chuck had let me know that they're adding another Olympic strength coach position, and put my name in the hat and ended up getting it. So I'm beyond fortunate enough to be able to be a graduate assistant in Nashville for 3 years and then work at Vanderbilt for 3 years or 4 years after that. So I stayed in Nashville. I was in there for about 7 years.
Nice.
And it was awesome. So Chuck was at Vanderbilt with football. I was on the Olympic side. Oh, hi, doggo. And then Alvin Futrell was actually promoted to director at Tennessee State.
Okay.
So when I was at Vandy, I had women's soccer, men's and women's golf, and women's tennis. And it was awesome. I absolutely loved it. Great first job. Athletes were phenomenal, just great people. And so were the coaches. Like I learned so much from like Jeff McDonald, Aliki is on his staff. Those are the tennis coaches. Same with the golf coaches. Like they were just great, great people to work with.
Hmm.
And then after those 4 years, Coach Franklin took the Penn State job up here, and it was like the crew's going. So Dwight Galt followed him from Vanderbilt. Chuck followed him from Vanderbilt, and then Alvin Futrell was hired on as one of the assistants of football. As soon as one of the Olympic positions came open, Chuck gave me a call. He's like, "Hey, we're moving. You want to come up?" Came up, interviewed. Had to make sure that it wasn't so cold that I couldn't stand it.
Okay.
Because these guys were up here for probably 6 months before I got up here.
Uh-huh.
And I've kind of been here ever since. So
Nice.
it's like the three of us have been fortunate enough and to be kind of with each other, at least my whole career, and pretty close to the other one's whole career. So it was pretty awesome.
That's pretty good. You guys, it's like family tied right there. It's like, hey, if I'm going, you're
Yeah.
coming. So you guys are like married with work,
Man, we're family.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep, for
That's
sure.
awesome. Now, where's
For
home
sure.
for you?
So it's a little bit all over the place. I'm originally from West Virginia. I did most of my schooling in Ohio,
Okay.
Cleveland area is where I graduated high school from. And then obviously got my master's at Tennessee. Now I'm in Pennsylvania. My parents have kind of popped all over the place a little bit, little Texas, little Indiana. They're currently down in Knoxville. I've got a brother who's up in Wisconsin with his family.
Oh, snap.
So a little all over the place.
Nice.
But,
nomadic.
Yeah.
Like just stick and move, get going.
Yep, I'm where my feet are.
You got no Italian in you. Italians, man, we stay put.
No.
I hate it.
No Italians.
Italians,
yeah, you're not.
We kind of get stuck in one spot, and then once the family grows, you're like, well, screw it. The roots are here. Let's just lay back, But
Yeah.
That's funny. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So you're at Penn State now. How cold is like the winters over there in the valley?
Oh, man, it depends on the year. The first year I worked here, the snow piles were over my car.
Snap.
And I thought, what have I done?
Uh-huh.
But I mean, it you get used to it, right? You dress for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in an ice rink all day, every day now, so it's not like it matters. It's always cold, right?
What's the temperature in them damn places?
Oh my gosh, it feels like 45 most days.
No, really, yeah.
Like on the ice, it feels so cold, but you get used to it, so it's not that bad.
That's not
anymore.
bad. We don't have freezing cold winters in Jersey no more. I guess global warming could be the culprit of that, but we had no snow days this past year.
Oh wow,
crazy.
Nice.
We usually have a bunch, and then a blizzard at March, and then we didn't get nothing. So
yeah.
Anyway, all right, cool. So you're at Penn State. You work with a bunch of teams. Who's your main two teams? Is it your hockey teams?
Yeah. So right now, I'm men's and women's hockey. Yep.
Okay.
So
let's take a deep dive into the middle of the ocean. Let's go.
Awesome. So I guess when I started, I had women's lacrosse, everybody that ran on the track team, and
like everyone, like distance
hockey.
sprinters,
anyone that ran.
Crazy.
As long as you didn't touch an implement, you were mine.
Jesus.
Yeah. So they would come in waves. So it would be the sprinters would be first, then the middle distance, and then the distance.
And
that's kind of how they
no jumpers.
No jumpers, no throwers. Even though I was a thrower.
Okay.
Yeah. Just the runners.
Okay.
Yeah. It was fun too. Really small weight room. But it was cool. It was a good time. So I really liked it. But yeah, lacrosse. And then I've had hockey for the 9 years that I've been here. Women's ice hockey. Yeah. From there I moved to men's soccer for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I had women's rugby for 4 years.
Okay. So Penn State, I mean, look, I'm pretty stuck in my own world right now. Like Penn State's pretty much got a women's rugby. Do you have men's rugby?
They do. Yep.
Okay. Men's and women's hockey.
Yep. There's 31 varsity teams.
Okay.
33 in total that we train.
Okay. Yeah. I never heard of a women's rugby team. Okay, you got to talk to me. It's going to be a long podcast. We're going to talk hockey.
No, you're good.
Some rugby. Let's go.
It's fun. So they've got a really good history here. I think the NCAA doesn't support rugby as one of their sports. So it's called a club elite. team. So across the country,
Oh, they're
it's
still
club.
traveling. Okay.
Right. So you can like the teams that they compete against are the elite level of their bracket, right?
Okay.
So it's still like technically considered like a Division 1 competition, but it's just not NCAA, right?
How does that work? There's no like obviously no Big Ten conference. There's like just like
So
leagues or
so within, yeah, I think it's league. So like within, we still have like a Big Ten like rugby,
oh snap.
right?
Okay.
So that's in the fall, and then they have their more of like a championship season in the spring.
That's like underground hip hop.
It is absolutely,
That's
and
awesome.
they've been so successful too. In both programs, both coaches are amazing, and yeah, it's pretty fun because you can train them just like really get after them too. And train them pretty hard.
Are the dimensions of like the field different like women's and men's lacrosse, or is it similar just like men's and women's rugby? Hey, we play the same, the rules are the same, the field's the same,
Yeah, same
ball's the
stuff.
same.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. They'll play two different styles. So they'll play like 15s, where you got 15 players on the team, and then they'll play sevens, where that's more fast paced. Like dimensions of the field don't change, so you only have 7 players, so it's much faster. So what they mainly focus on is the 15s, but then at the very end of the spring semester, they'll have a massive sevens tournament that they'll go to down in Philly.
Okay.
And
No,
so
has anyone ever tried to go to Coach Franklin and say, "Hey, I want to try for the football team"?
to the best of my knowledge, no. But I can't imagine that there's not somebody that's been like, hey, I think I can be a kicker,
Yeah. Or
or
linebacker.
something,
Shoot, man. Girls
something
can
like
hit,
that.
man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They take some hits.
That's it.
Yeah.
Good for them. That's awesome. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
What's good with the hockey teams? I was reading your bio. You guys, was it hockey, women's or men's hockey that went to their first national title game or conference title?
Yep. So women this year, they won their first conference tournament and made it to the first NCAAs in program history.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. It was a big moment.
Then I bet it was. Hell yeah.
Yeah. It's been we've been through a roller coaster to get to that point, and now I mean I couldn't be more excited about this team coming back.
Okay.
They're legit. They're studs. They're bought in. I'm really pumped up for them.
So how's hockey work? They got like red shirts, like is it like everything's the same, or is it kind of like, hey, when we recruit you to come in, you're playing as a freshman, we need you for a couple minutes here.
I mean,
you have like developmental kids too.
It could be. We've had some of everything, right?
Okay.
So we've had some kids that will come in and they're going to redshirt their freshman year, and we've had some kids that come in with this. We had a coaching change 6 years ago, so with that, I mean, he's kind of expected everybody to come in and play and start playing.
Okay.
But I mean, we can get anything under the sun, really. It's going to be more likely that you're going to come in and get some minutes as a freshman on the women's side. With the men's side, I think it's a little bit more, you've had experience in the Big Ten. That's pretty invaluable. So, they're obviously going to play. And then the chemistry between the players as well and their line mates. So you go out, you have like if you're forwards, you've got your 3 line mates that, you play with consistently, and that there's like a chemistry between you two because it's so fast.
Yeah.
You got to know where they're going to be, what they're doing. Communication is massive.
Tendencies.
On the ice. Yeah. Tendencies.
All that stuff.
The whole thing. Yeah. Like if like, all right, my guy loves sitting back door and I know that he's going to be there. That's where I'm putting the puck, So things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get into the training style. We'll talk hockey first, and we'll branch off somehow.
All right. Deal.
I'm curious because I told you before we started recording. I said, man, I used to love hockey as a kid, played it, and then football, pushed me away from hockey. Now I just don't even watch it. Don't know one player in the NHL.
Yeah.
Outside of your studs, Crosby and homeboy in Washington, I forget his name, Ovechkin.
Yeah, Ovechkin. Yeah.
Yeah, but outside of that, I can't name another player. But I'm interested. So you're talking line mates, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, your first line is going to be your better players that are, hey, we're going to try to score as soon as possible with these guys. These are our best guys. Your second lines, your second best guys, so forth and so on. Do you have like training models, or like how's your conditioning work with like your first line, your second line, third line? Even though they're all going to play, like does your first line operate and get more minutes than your 2 and 3 lines?
Yeah, so typically they will get a few more minutes,
Okay.
or a few more shifts than the second, third, fourth line.
Right, that's the word shift, yeah.
Yep. So, their loads are going to be much higher during
Mhm.
the games. It's going to be I feel like it's going to be pretty even between the second and third lines.
Mhm.
But as far as like conditioning is going to go, they're on the ice for no more than 45 seconds in a shift, unless something happens and they get stuck out there for some reason, we're pinned in our ozone, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's all very anaerobic. They're very speed power dominant, both men's and women's. So a lot of that's going to come with interval training. So we're going to do a lot of on ice, off ice intervals. So whether that's we got 8 assault bikes in the back of the room. So most of it's going to come from that. I do really like, for just kind of base level conditioning that's going to spike your heart rate up and down, is going to be like I call them metabolic series.
Okay.
So I hate circuits. I hate like the start, stop, 30 seconds of all out efforts, things like that. So I'll give them a list of 5 exercises that they have to go through, anywhere from 5 to 10 reps on. And it's going to be a mixture of, pull-ups, push-ups, slosh bag, hurdle hops, things that are going to keep their heart rate high, but they can complete with really good form, and really good range of motion. So, and they know that they can complete it, which is that's the part that sucks, right?
Yeah.
So they'll go through 3 or 4 rounds, and we do those pretty consistently. I try to have it towards the end of the week. So thinking of like volume loading, I try to have most of my volume towards the end of the week, because that's when they play games. We play 2 games back to back, Friday, Saturday,
Okay.
pretty consistently for a really long period of time.
That's like your whole season
Yep.
format. Okay.
Yep. For the most part, until it gets to tournament time. Yeah. That's
Okay.
pretty
And
much it.
you playing the same team back to back?
Yeah. Same
Okay.
team back to back. We play everyone in conference twice, so a home and an away.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's interesting, because hockey obviously is an anaerobic sport, but I would have thought it was more aerobic. I don't know. That's just my eyeball test. So, but you're the expert.
Right. So there's a huge component, right, to
There
have
is, yeah.
a good aerobic base. And that's where I think from like in the last 2 years transitioning to the men's side, as well as like helping to build that aerobic base, so that when you go out for these all out effort shifts, you come back in and you can, come back to a recovery zone.
What's a typical like rest time in, I guess we can't say game, like for your conditioning? Because I'm just going to talk football, because that's just that's the easiest analogy.
Right.
Do your conditioning, you sprint to where you got to go, then you rest for like 30 seconds tops because of the play clock, right?
Right.
What's like your situations with like hockey? Like what's your work to rest and like conditioning, like conditioning bouts?
Yeah, we're going to go anywhere from, I would say, 8 to 30 seconds.
Okay.
And the work to rest is going to, like, if it's obviously shorter, I'm working on, like, if it's our 8-second bouts, you're going to do an 8-second rep every 30 seconds.
Okay.
So you get a little bit more rest. Or we can go, I like to do the minute on minute, like every 30 seconds or every minute type of thing. For some of our sled workouts, we'll go 10 seconds with the 50-second rest. Just because we're working that, like, kind of that very first start, right? So my first step quickness type of things. My first on ice effort, because that's another big part of the game, is how fast can you get off the bench and get into the zone. So that's about like 8 to 10 seconds. That's like your first, the first part of you being on the ice is 8 to 10 seconds.
That's like once you snap the football type.
Right. That's like
Okay.
that decides a lot of games,
Really
you know.
getting off the bench and getting to a zone.
Yeah. And then the other side of that is getting off the ice. So you don't want to be on the ice for so long that it takes you too long and you're gassed to get
Hmm.
off the ice and make that change. So it's a line change, right? So if you're gassed, you're probably getting beat to the
Yeah.
puck, right?
Uh-huh.
Because it's such a fast game. It's over and back so fast. So you have to have that bit of aerobic base to make sure that you got enough gas to get off the ice too,
Gotcha.
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Where does that fall? Does that fall into like mental toughness or just grit? Or like how would you categorize? Because this is good stuff. Like getting off the bench and then you got to get somewhere ASAP, like as fast as humanly
Yeah.
possible. That's like a key determinant in hockey goals. Goals or game or like winning games.
I mean, either
Either
one,
way,
right?
goals are gonna win
Most of the time,
games.
it's going
Yeah.
to come down to one goal, right?
Right.
Especially in tournament play.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's grit is a great word. That is like hockey.
Hmm.
Hockey is gritty. So I think that's another reason why I love it so much, is
Yeah.
because you can't get away from it. You got to have something to you to be able to battle on the boards, battle for the puck, battle to get off the ice,
Hmm.
battle as soon as you step on the ice. Those are all like big coaching words. So it's easy for me. Hey, you got to battle in here,
Hmm.
right? Whenever you walk in, it's time to go. And both teams do a great job of like really getting after it and really buying in and you know putting in the work.
That's awesome, man. So that's
Yeah.
see, I don't read hockey research, but that's amazing that you said so because something like that just slips the average person like myself's mind. It's like you don't even think it's like, oh, he's getting off the bench, cool, you know.
Yeah.
but you're
Yeah.
you're in the game and you're like, hey, this is gonna be the biggest determinant of what happens next, not just
Uh-huh.
substitution and rest and
Right.
next man up. So that's pretty cool. So how's like some of your um because your guys and girls are gonna be in like a boot, like pretty much a locked up boot, for
Mm-hmm.
the entirety of their career, when they're not in just a normal human walking around. So like explain to like some of your like bread and butter tools in the weight room,
Yeah.
or like pre-practice, post-practice, pre-game, post-game stuff that you like to use with like I guess like joint mobility.
Yeah, so I think it's interesting that you brought up the boot situation, right? So
Uh-huh.
it is different. And a lot of times I think I'm learning that it's coming down to how you figured out how to skate. So if you are a guy that knows how to like really toe flick and
What the hell is a toe flick?
it's like literally just extending your ankle, just the slightest bit in that boot.
In the boot, okay.
Yeah, so you can still extend. Typically, they're not gonna go all the way up in their skates with it. It's like lace their skates all the way up to their eyelets, like their top eyelets, right? So they have a bit of mobility in there,
Oh no
but for the
shit.
most part, it's very stable and they're very locked in. So
Okay.
you can either just push and not do that toe flick, or you can use that little extra bit, just like we would jump or do anything or sprint, right? To help propel yourself forward. So we do quite a bit of ankle mobility, kind of like really trying to work knee over toe, and then like that mid foot strength, because they need to have that
Mid-foot strength.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like that strength and stability. So ISO holds on your like just on your toes. I'll do some split stance. Like I'll have a plate on the ground, and then they just put their forefoot on the plate and have to do isometric holds, kind of like a split squat.
Okay.
And then that helps to kind of activate the quads and glutes as well, right? So if I'm doing iso split squat holds, the thing in the summer that they really hate is like a 6 count down. So you're gonna come down
snap.
in that split squat hold, right? You're gonna come down, hold for 6 seconds, come back up, hold for 5 seconds, come back up.
Time
4,
out. Oh,
3,
no,
2, and they hate it. Absolutely hate it.
I hate thinking about it.
Yeah. So, and
Jesus.
that's another thing. Like, they got to be able to be in that lunge and hold pattern for quite a while.
Okay.
So there's some things that we can do on the ice that really burn the legs. There's some things we can do in the weight room to really, really burn and kind of get that lactic acid, because there's nothing. It's almost like there's nothing you can really do to mimic on ice training without
Yeah.
being on the ice.
Slide, quote unquote, slide board.
Right. Right.
Do you, because I know slide board was one of those things that's like they say it simulates skating, but I skated before. It kind of doesn't, you know? Because so I'm interested now because you're talking about that toe flick and how guys don't lace their boots up all the way. Some guys don't, some guys do. Girls and guys do. Do you like video analysis or do any type of video analysis on like skate patterns? It's kind of like running, where you would say, hey, here's your foot patterning. You know, you watch someone run, you can say, hey, you're crashing, your arch is collapsing a little bit. Like, do you look at that stuff with skating? Say, hey, you're pushing too much, your ankle's starting to turn. We could tell, or how would you, or how does a coach analyze that stuff?
And that's where I'm gonna rely on the people around me too. Like, I didn't skate, right? So, I'll do some video and like video certain guys that, you know, we have some issues with, or they're coming back from injury, or just to see like, how can we make this better, right? And the biggest resource I have for it are my coaches and our equipment manager, Ben Kogut. So I'll come in and be like, Ben, can you help me dissect, see what he's doing? Or I'll come up to the coaches and like, you know, how can I help him? That's what I want to know. I was like, how can I most help this guy? Is it core stability? Is he leaning too far over? So do we need to work on posture and core? Do we need to work on sinking his hips more, like being lower, bending the knees, being comfortable, being uncomfortable?
Right. Okay.
You know, bending the knees, getting that ISO hold and pushing, or is it something in the ankle? So I'll rely on these guys a lot. And it's great that, you know, I'm in here and I'm in this facility the whole time, all day, every day, to be able to do some of that stuff.
Okay. Is like, so, I mean, skating is one thing, you know, running is another, but do you look for like similar patterns, like hip extension, knee extension, and stuff like that? Okay.
Because they're bent over in their strides, we're not going to get quite as much hip extension, but it's still like needs to be very relevant. It's a very glute med dominant motion.
Okay.
You know, so that's something that we work on quite a bit, is glute and glute med strength and hip extension. Yeah.
Men and women.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. Not just one. Okay. Do you, do women have more of like a prone to ACL on ice, or like on court stuff, or not really?
So I think what's fortunate here is that if we do get an ACL, it's probably going to be contact. You know, we have had a few in my time here, but because when you're thinking about, okay, when you tear your ACL, it's going to be 30 degrees of flexion or higher, right? So when they skate, they're lower than 30 degrees.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because their knees are bent. And they're activating their quads.
So they're never like in that prone position to begin with, you're saying?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So most likely something's gonna get stuck. Like they're gonna get pushed into the boards. They're gonna get tripped and pushed into the boards, and that's when that collision is when it's gonna happen. Or they're gonna it'll be like a collision,
like a knee to knee.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so something happens.
You've never seen like a quick turn, change of direction, like quick stop, turn and go.
Yeah, I've not seen that
type stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just asking questions.
Yeah. I think that's a great question. I actually just had that conversation. I think it's because they have such strong glute meds. They have such strong quads, and to be able to stop and go, you can't be upright because you're on blades, right? You have to sink.
You got to sink. Okay. Go. So you're kind of like forced into an automatic lower center of mass position.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Like these guys they're great at agility work. They're perfect at agilities. You tell them they're running a straight line, very bad.
Yeah. Very bad. That's funny.
Yeah. They can do a 5-10-5 shuttle like a beauty, but you put them in a straight line, they're going to like, just like they're skating.
That's funny. That's like my swimmers. I coach water
Yeah,
polo at Fordham and swimming here at Monmouth, but I call up my sea animals, my sea creatures. I'm like, man, when you guys run,
yeah,
it's like, what the hell is going on right now? You know?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
funny. So are your hockey players like penguins?
A little bit, a little bit.
It's always all
Yeah,
nice. Now,
yeah.
so you talked about agility and straight line stuff. Do you do any like land training with them, or is it all on ice when you're, doing your conditioning and agility and speed work?
No, I like to in the summer get them off ice for
Okay.
sure. I think it has a lot. Hip flexors and groins are another big like hot ticket item when it comes to injuries in hockey, and I really like to do a lot of just different. It just provides a different look on their hip flexors, right? So like the high knees, the butt kicks, like going through running drills and forms. Maybe they're holding a splash bag, maybe they've got a dowel over their head, maybe they've got a band around their hips, like things like that, just to help strengthen a different area of the hip flexor and groin, right? Because it's a push out and then a recover back. And if they keep doing that motion over and over and over, it's just such a small area that if it gets inflamed or it gets overused or something like that, it's going to take a long time to heal.
Okay.
So I like to make sure that we do just some different stuff, in the summer that's going to help them with that ankle flexion extension, with the hip flexion extension, just to make sure I want to train them like the athletes that they are, but like help them. I think it helps to produce power. I think it helps with injury prevention. So we'll do a lot of sled work, a lot of pulling and pushing sleds.
Okay.
Same with like crossovers. Crossover is a big motion in hockey. So shuffles, crossovers for glute development, and kind of we'll do a lot of backwards running, towing, as well to just burn the quads. And
Okay.
there's a lot it's just if it's hard, we're probably going to do it because it comes back to that grit, right?
Oh
Like, we
yeah, I
got to
bet.
do a really hard workout today.
Uh-huh.
So
That's
yeah,
good. That's also, it's awesome to
yeah,
hear that like the sport is not always on ice, because you always hear like basketball's always on court, football's always on the field. We never get them off
right.
those surfaces. Um, in hockey, like now, let me ask you this: is there a time where you're like, we need to get on the ice? Like who the hell's driving the Zamboni? Ain't even clean the ice up today. Is it ever that conversation, or is it like what?
Oh man, we're so fortunate here. Like, we have 2 sheets of ice almost year round. They're putting in our main ice right now. They took it out for May graduation. They do big maintenance on it. They have graduation on the floor
Oh,
because
nice.
underneath is just
So
concrete, right?
let me ask you this: where is the ice rink? Is that with the basketball court, or is that separate?
Nope, it's separate.
Oh, you
Yep,
got your own arenas. Okay.
yep, yep. So we have 2 sheets of ice, community rink, and then the main ice. So almost year round, we're putting in the ice right now. They've painted it. They're ready to rock and roll. So it should be in by next weekend.
Okay.
And so we really don't have too much of a problem with getting ice time for these guys. I will say it's like any preseason, right? You're going to have a big spike in intensity
Mm-hmm.
because everybody's going to get out there and they're going to play fast and they're going to want to do
You feel
extra.
great. Yeah.
You feel great until you don't,
Right.
right? So this year we are going to do in our second summer session, we're going to have like two times a week where we've got to go hard on the ice
Okay.
so that I know that our hip flexors, and because I don't want the first time that they've really gone full speed on ice to be the first day of practice,
First practice. Gotcha.
in months. So yeah, we're going to make sure that we've done some speed, we've done some agility, and we're ready to rock and roll.
Okay.
So
Random
yeah.
random question. This is random as hell.
Yeah.
Do, do you ever take them out on rollerblades or not? Not really.
So a lot of the guys, when they have old skates,
Uh-huh.
there's a thing that you can purchase online and basically put rollerblades on your skates.
Oh,
Like
really?
like the base of the blade or the base of the rollers there just goes right on the bottom of your old skate.
Oh, snap.
So I would say that most of the guys probably have some rollerblades hanging around somewhere, or they'll rollerblade to class.
Oh, okay. So you're not rollerblade training. Like, hey guys, we're in rollerblades tomorrow. Don't forget your rollerblades. Guy pulls up in sneakers. Like, what the fuck's rollerblades?
Yeah. I probably won't do that. But I mean, it would be kind of cool to take them over to so across the street is the BJC, and they have like a really wide concourse to get up the hill. And so typically, because we don't have cleats, I'll run them uphill on that concourse.
Should rollerblade.
So if I was like, dude, if we rollerblade up the hill as fast as we can, but then I'm like, oh, how do we get down? I guess we gotta bomb the hill
sideways.
Knowing these guys, like I'm gonna see them like
someone's gonna try to
later.
Oh yeah, someone's gonna try to grind a rail, and there he goes.
Right. That's exactly what would happen. I can picture it now. Yeah.
No, that's dope though. So
yeah.
When so men's and women's hockey, you train them at the same time, or they kind of have separate slots?
It actually works out really nice. So they'll have separate slots.
Okay.
We practice at about the same time.
How many players per team?
So the men have 28 and the women have typically 24.
Okay, that's a close number.
So yeah, really close.
So mid-20s. Okay.
Yep. The men will go. During the season, we'll lift in 2 groups. So there's a morning option for the men, and like around 8 o'clock, and then they have ice right after that. So open ice from 9 to 10:30.
Okay.
So, and then they'll do the same thing, like same situation in the afternoon, where they'll lift around 1 o'clock. They have open ice at 2, and then we practice at 3:30. So that we always try to have lift and then ice option, so that when they come in, if you're a morning guy and you want to get extra work in, then you can come and do your lift. You can go and get on the ice either with teammates or with coaches, and then you can go to class and kind of do your thing. Okay,
that open ice is kind of like just an open hour. It's like, hey, do your own thing. It's nothing structured. Yep. Okay.
Nope. A lot of guys, they'll use it for power play or special teams.
Gotcha. Okay.
Power play, penalty kill. So they'll go out with their units and do some stuff like that.
Any fight training?
Fight training?
Yeah, boxing, hands, gloves, pads. Come on now.
We have
shit get real on the ice, man.
I know, right? We have 2 heavy bags in the weight room, and we have 2 speed bags.
Let's go.
Yeah, and I actually last year I got one of the suspended bags for the guys as well. So like that's another big part of it. Everyone on the team can juggle. They have juggling competitions.
Oh, nice. Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, and they'll come in and they'll hit the speed bag pretty often. We do have a guy on the team that has a really strong background in mixed martial arts, so he comes in and just tears up some of the bags sometimes.
Okay.
So it's fun. I leave it up to them, but they are all very good about, all right, I'm going to learn how to do the speed bag now. I'm going to learn how to do it this way. I'm going to learn how to do it backwards, like the whole thing.
Okay.
So,
man, if I was a hockey strength coach, I'm just thinking about it now, I would have like a 2-minute segment at the end of our session, every session dedicated to just, all right, get a partner. You're gonna get a glove on.
Yeah,
we're throwing some haymakers, man. Don't knock them out. Put the headgear on. Put a mouthpiece in, and we getting ready to rumble, man. Because we're not going to be that team that ends up on the ground bleeding.
No doubt. I don't think we're gonna.
No fights in college hockey, obviously, right, guys? Everyone's got cages.
Yeah. There's everyone has
like full visors.
Yeah, full deal. But there are definitely some fights. We had a guy put another dude through the glass this year.
Oh, snap. They checked the hell out of his ass.
Yeah, that was a great hit.
Let's go.
We had a couple more like really great hits. So
how's the crowds turn out? You guys must get a great turnout.
We have the best environment in college hockey.
Let's go.
It's phenomenal. The fan support, the community support here is unbelievable. I mean, it's across the board for Penn State athletics.
Do you guys play Rutgers? Does Rutgers have a hockey team?
They do not. No.
Oh, my Lord. Leave it up to Jersey, right? Leave it up to a damn Jersey school. Princeton?
They can get one. Princeton has hockey.
Yep. You guys play Princeton?
We haven't in a while. The women have played maybe 2 years ago,
Okay.
last year, 2 years. Yeah. Funny enough, both of our coaches came from Princeton.
Oh, snap. Okay.
Yeah.
But
So Jeff Campersall,
as players,
he
or they were both coaches and they both came over?
so Jeff Campersall on the women's side, he played there and coached there
Oh,
for a
nice. Okay.
very long time before he moved up here. Yep. And then Guy Godowski on the men's side came up here from Princeton.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, man, I'd love to go to a game. Like the Valley's too far for me to drive to. Uh,
Oh, dang.
I mean, it's not, but I'm having a kid soon, so that's gonna be in the way.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, well, congrats. That's
Thanks.
awesome.
Yeah, I don't want to tell my wife, hey, I'm gonna go catch a Penn State hockey game this weekend real quick.
Right.
So what you doing? Right?
Yeah.
If you guys are up here, I'd love to go to a game and catch something, man. That's
Yeah.
awesome. What so man, I'm picking the hell out of your brain today, coach.
All good.
So LPS, GPS, indoor stuff. I met you at a catapult conference, little get together. So, I was like, man, she gotta do this stuff. And that's where we met and spoke. And I want to pick your brain on that stuff with hockey.
Yep.
Certain metrics you look for, certain metrics that you monitor in season, off season. Do you track, miles per hour, speeds with the guys and the girls? Like what are some things that you do and look at with that stuff?
Yeah, so we use for both teams right now, we're using first beat, which is mostly heart rate.
Okay, real quick, I don't want to cut you off, but is it more like soccer where you guys just look at the heart rate stuff, like fitness stuff, or is it external, internal?
So for the women, we do have there is an external option, so they have an ergometer in their units. For the men, we haven't gone that route quite yet. So right now, what they'll do is a training load. So TRIMP is their training load, training impulse. And what I'll do is break down for the men. I'll break down every drill that we do, and that'll be in my practice report. And then and then I'll go TRIMP per minute. So that gives me an intensity. So that's how we gauge. And because hockey is so intense, that's super helpful for the coaches to see. And we can go based on, all right, intensity of drill. And I think that's where we've really kind of found something that we can program and plan off of.
Okay.
So our goal is to have at least one drill every practice that is the same intensity as our games or our average period.
Average period. Okay.
Yep. So that's kind of the goal. Depending on time of the year, like if we're like this past year, we were getting ready for NCAAs. Most of our drills matched that intensity, but we didn't do that many drills. So we kept it short. So if you're going to be really intense, you got to keep it short. If we're learning and doing systems work and things like that, then you can go a little bit longer as long as you don't have that super high intensity, because regardless, skating is hard and it's very taxing, even though they're used to it. But you want to try to keep the total volume down when we're gearing up towards, major games, major playoffs, major, the things where you get rings for.
Gotcha. Yeah. The meaningful games.
Right.
They would like to say.
Well, with the women's side, so they do have an ergometer in their unit. So we have a movement load.
Okay, perfect. Good. Now you got me. So impacts, is there like any like collisional load that you get with that stuff? That's what I wanted to ask you.
So with the system that we currently have, we don't have the collision.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I know you met me at a catapult.
Listen, I was there and I don't use catapult. So.
Oh, okay. So, and I know all those guys because I work soccer, and I used catapult with soccer. But they do have like a collision. They do have like with catapult for their hockey units. They do have like strides per minute, which I think would be very valuable, and an impact as well.
Okay.
So that's something maybe down the road we venture into, but
you got any of that loading stuff with rugby team or no?
They got it after I left. So the men's rugby team does have and that does have some type of GPS tracking device. and then I supervise the guy that is overseeing their training right now, and
Okay.
he did an awesome job of um, running that and doing the player profile for it, the coaching profile, the whole deal. I'm not sure what one it is. I wish I knew
Yeah, that's
because
fine.
he did a great job with it.
Nah, don't
Yeah,
worry about it.
I would love to see a rugby hit though.
Yeah, that's
Like,
what I want to ask you. I'm like, what's the craziest like
yeah,
collision load you've seen on a hit, man?
I know that would be cool to see.
They hit harder than football players, man. That's just bone on bone.
It's like, man, I wonder if they do. You would think it would because they go so fast. Like they're
Yeah.
moving really fast. They're not as big as football players. Like I would say our average size is probably 6 foot and maybe like a 190 probably would be an
Okay.
average on the team.
You ever seen like these
180,
Australian
185.
and New Zealand teams? They're like linebackers, like middle linebackers running around. There's
Oh,
like a whole bunch of Brian Urlachers out there, 6'4",
yeah.
260.
No doubt. Yeah, for rugby, oh, they're
Yeah,
huge.
yeah.
Like massive, massive.
What's
So that's like definitely.
I was gonna say like comparing them to like hockey players. Like I know I love the sport of soccer. That's why I didn't want to ask any soccer questions today. But um like comparing like who's like your biggest hockey player? Like metric wise, like 6 foot, 6'4".
I would say he's probably 6'3" and 230.
Off
Yeah.
skates, 6'3".
Off skates, 6'3", 230. Yeah.
Oh, so he's a monster out there. Defender?
Yeah. No, he's a forward. We did
Any
have it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, good.
So we did have another guy that he just graduated this past year that's roughly about the same. He might have been a little heavier. So he was probably 235, 240.
Okay. What's like the
Yeah,
average
he was
height
the one.
for a female hockey player?
Female, I would say probably 5'7", 5'8". We've got a couple of girls that are
Okay.
close to 6 feet. And then again, some slightly shorter.
Yeah.
So I think
Oh,
our
so
shortest is like five, probably 5'4".
okay, so they're like soccer players,
Yeah,
like
pretty
profile.
similar.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just figure
yeah, more muscle
volleyball
mass,
girls. Yeah, volleyball girls can be anywhere from like 5'6" to 6'6". You
no
know,
doubt.
same with
Yeah, they're
basketball.
huge.
But okay,
They're
so
huge.
you won't have any like tall girls playing hockey.
Not super tall. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I would say probably 6 feet is maybe 6'1" would be the highest, like
gotcha.
the tallest. Yeah.
Any any like positional differences that you would do in training with like a goalie and a forward and defender? Or is it kind of universal on the ice, and then the goalies do something separate, or like how would you manage that stuff? And how would you manage like male female if there's any differences in training?
Yeah, for the most part, um, the skaters are all going to do the same thing. You know,
Okay.
your defenders on ice are going to need to be a little bit better with like the footwork, the backpedaling. You know, it's very similar to soccer in that realm, right? So your central defenders, they need to be really good at switching their hips and going.
Hmm.
Whereas your forwards are very much like, okay, see the puck, go get the puck. And they're
Straight
just going.
like straight
More
line
straight
speed.
lines.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where I would put a little bit of difference in. I'm going to be a little bit more particular in the everyone needs hip mobility. Everyone's hips in hockey suck.
Hmm. Everyone's hips
So
in the world, period.
maybe, yeah, yeah. But hockey takes a beating. Um, so as far as that kind of stuff, like for my defenders, I would love for their 5-10-5 shuttles to be our best on the team because I know
You
that
do
they
that
need to.
on land or on ice with a 5-10-5?
We'll do on land.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and then for our goalies, we'll do a little bit different mobility, because they need to have like a really big chest, shoulders need to work really, really well. I like doing like the PVC overhead squats, maybe lightly loaded overhead squats, just for that posture. They do a lot of thoracic mobility. They'll do, we've got like one of those old Russian boxes in the back.
Okay.
So I'll go get your Russian box jumps, things like that. So a little bit more lateral. There are some explosive drills that we'll do late in season, that there'll be a little bit more lateral movement on
Okay.
versus like a forward skating stride. But as far as like the general training for the team, I won't switch too much up. What I will do, because we have force plates, is kind of bucket guys differently. So if you are eccentrically dominant, then we'll work on your concentric force. So based upon how you jump for our force plate testing. So I'll kind of take that and run with it. So if I've got guys that I basically have a strength bucket and you're working on strength, I've got a eccentric dominant bucket, you're going to work on concentric force production. I've got a concentric force, you're going to work on eccentrically loading, things like that. So I kind of, I'll go strength, explosive, speed. And that's kind of how we do our first semester in season.
Okay.
Is pretty much like that. Now everybody might do the same thing. Like we all might be doing front squats, but how you do the front squat is going to be different. Like my guys that are building strength, you're going to be, let's say you're 5'5". And then my guys that are working on concentric force, you might come down, tap a bench, or you're going to come down into like a sport stance and fire up as fast as you can. Or maybe you're doing like accommodating resistance. So you have a little bit lighter load and you're working on pop. Let's go. And then for my guys that are speed dominant, or maybe they need a little more eccentrically focused loading, they're going to go lighter loads, but a dynamic type of lift.
Okay. So more like go.
Yeah.
Next rep. Okay.
Yep. And then how they superset, the different things that they'll superset is most likely going to be, all right, if I have a guy that needs a little bit more twitch to him, he's going to be doing like repetitive, like rebound jumps almost.
Okay.
And then guys that need to learn how to produce more force, they're going to be doing more of like a broad jump style. So sink and go. It could be weighted. It could be med balls, skips, jumps, things like that. So my ground contact time athletes are going to do things one way, like fast ground contacts. And then my other group that's learning how to produce force, they're going to do things that are lightly loaded, but getting off the ground as high as they can. So they're a little bit more time under tension, I guess, with that.
Yeah. Longer contraction times.
Right. And then maximal effort.
Yeah.
Right. So they're going to do a few less reps, where the other guys are going to do a few more reps, but it's going to be faster.
Okay. So he's doing like 10 rebound jumps. The other guy's doing like 3 broad jumps.
Right. Okay. With a medicine ball or something,
Okay.
Yeah. And it seems to have worked really well. I think it creates great buy-in. And, if that's the one thing that I feel like, other than injury prevention and speed training, things like that, I feel like I can really impact how well they play if I can figure out how they produce force, and then what's the lowest hanging fruit in your ability to produce force, or why you're not able to produce force, and really attack that.
That's pretty cool though. Okay. So you jump guys and then you bucket them out. What are some of your KPIs that you look for, like in their jumps? Like you said like if some guys are too eccentrically dominant, so they're spending too much time loading, I guess, right?
So I think we'll do a profile on them. So we'll do a counter movement jump, and then compare that to how they do a squat jump. And then I'll get like basically like, okay, here's your guys that can use their strength, their stretch shortening cycle really well.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's your guys that need some work on it.
Okay.
And then some guys that are like super even, then that's the guys that need to do kind of like the rebound style. They can produce force, right? But they can't do it. They can't use their stretch shortening cycle really well.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
It's kind of that's how we'll compare it.
Okay. You do the 10-5 jump on that as well, or
10-5.
Do they have the 10-5 rebound jump on? I thought they did. They probably don't.
They might. I haven't used it.
Okay.
Yeah, I've just kind of gone that route of, we're gonna do a counter movement.
Just counter movement and a squat jump.
And then a squat jump. Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing we'll use it for is an isometric pull.
Okay.
Yeah.
You take that data and use it to program too, or? You just kind of look
Yeah,
at it and say, hey, here's where we're at force wise.
yeah. I think it's like how I look at testing is collect the data, and it's almost like a web, right? You can start to see you see where they're lacking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're able to really focus in on that. So if I can see that a guy is like his strength numbers might not be great, but they're not horrible, but then I put him on an isometric pull that we've been doing for a really long time, and and he's not able to really produce that force, then I know that strength and force is something that we got to really focus in on. Some guys, and I try to make sure that everything is based upon their body weight as well.
Okay.
So, because I think that's a big part of it too, and how much you weigh is and how much muscle mass you have is very determinant on how fast you can skate, right? Because you have to be able to move whatever weight you have. So these guys are pretty lean, they're pretty fit, and I try to make sure that we keep that muscle mass on, we keep our ability to produce force high throughout the season. So if we see some people start to trail off, then I know, okay, we either need a dose of strength work, dose of explosiveness, like something to keep us at optimal, force production throughout the year.
When do you jump your guys in season?
They'll go weekly.
Weekly? You do it like typically like day after the game. So do you guys train day after the game Sunday or?
We don't train Sunday.
Okay.
That's kind of there because we play 2 games back to back. Like having them do something on Sunday other than recover is probably not the best option.
Okay.
So Monday, kind of how I'll break down the week. Monday we'll do upper body and core and mobility because I still think that they're fatigued from the weekend.
Okay.
Right. The guys that didn't play that much, they'll either have some conditioning to do, they'll have a little bit of lower body work in, or they'll have more sets and reps. We use Team Builder here, so it's really easy to plug in for some guys that didn't have as many minutes, like they were going to do more sets and reps of certain exercises. So that's our Mondays. Our Tuesday is our lower body day, where we'll do our lower body strength exercises as well as some more mobility, because I don't know if you can do enough mobility.
Right.
These guys, because it's such a long season, they're just going to lose mobility as we go. And then Wednesday is our primer day, and make sure that we're ready to go. So we'll jump on either Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on the semester.
Okay.
So that I make sure that we're good to go because that gives them enough time to recover from the weekend, and lets me know if we're trending in the right direction for the game. Okay.
How many games you guys play?
I want to say it's 52. I could be very wrong.
52.
Great question. I mean, it's a long season.
Is there? How long does your season go?
So it goes from the first weekend of October, and the last game, if we make it to the Frozen Four, is the first weekend of April.
First weekend of April. Okay, and you're playing nonstop all the way through, no Christmas break.
We have about 10 days at Christmas.
Okay, you do got Christmas break. Okay.
Yep.
You come right back after New Year's.
We'll come back for probably a New Year's series. Yeah.
Okay. Dang, that's hella games.
That's a lot.
I
could be wrong on 52, but
who cares? But for a collision sport like hockey, that's a lot. Shit,
yeah, man. It's a lot of games. It's a lot of load. Yeah,
especially going back to back every. You guys go every Friday, Saturday.
Pretty much, yeah. We're a little bit locked up on schedule for the fall because of football, because we can't have a hockey game on a football home game.
Okay.
So sometimes they'll go Thursday, Friday if we're scheduled for home. Or we'll go Sunday. The women have done a few Sunday Mondays as well. Okay. So that kind of gets wonky with the schedule, but yeah, it's always 2.
Gotcha. So, all right, yeah. So Penn State's got home football Saturday. You got to go Sunday.
Right.
God forbid you take a couple fans to away from football. God forbid.
I think it's for the best. I really do. It's because we're very close. So it's Pagula Ice Arena, and then right across the street is BJC, and then adjacent to that is the football stadium. And I don't know if you've ever been here for a football game.
Nah,
dude.
From what I heard, a buddy of mine used to coach there years ago. He said, "Man, you go to Penn State for one reason, like you're working for Penn. Like everyone around the surrounding area is like a Penn State employee, just damn near."
Yeah. I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible. It's the coolest game day experience I've ever had. Hockey, football, like the whole deal. Like any sport here, it's awesome.
You been to a whiteout game? Those games are crazy on TV.
Oh yeah.
They're crazy on TV.
I was at the whiteout game where we beat Ohio State, and that was one of the best sports moments I've ever seen.
That was recent? That was like 2 years ago?
I was probably 3 or 4 years ago now.
Was it that long
COVID,
ago? Damn.
It was before COVID, so that all messed us up, right?
Jesus. Was it that long? I thought it was 2021 when they beat Ohio State.
Oh, I don't think so. I think it was like a 2019-ish. Yeah.
Yeah, 2020 just like caused a divide in life.
It did. Really did. Like it's an abyss of 2 years. Yeah.
It's awesome. So, hey, listen, this is great stuff. I appreciate everything you brought to the podcast. This is good information. I loved it. This is had my brain working. I want to ask you one question before we get off, though.
Yes, sir.
Can't say teacher. If you weren't a strength and conditioning coach, what else would you be doing in life?
And I can't say teacher.
Yeah, because I used to ask this question. Like, I'd be a teacher. I'm teaching kids all day. It's like, it's cliche. It's corny.
Yeah. Huh. I would love to do something in like Quantico.
Quantico.
Yeah.
Explain
I know that's
going
like
on right
different,
now.
but like I've been fascinated with I'll watch any show that has something to do with Quantico. I would like, and like the FBI and things like that. I would love to do something like that.
Like a detective of a murder case.
Yeah, maybe,
like
or like a I don't know. I don't want to say like sports psychologist because I feel like that's half of my job.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that would be if I had to pick something totally off from like the sports world, but still it's kind of like still like a team environment. Some of the most interesting people I've met have like kind of been through Quantico and like something within the FBI. So I think that'd be neat.
Damn. Okay. That's special right there. That's different.
Yeah.
I watch all those crime shows. That's like my pre-bed. My pre-sleep routine, like going to bed, lay down, put either American Greed on, First 48, or like FBI Files. Then my wife's like, "Why are you watching this stuff at nighttime?" It's like,
I know, right?
Just chill.
Yeah. Just tell yourself it's not real. It's not real.
Yeah, it ain't real. It ain't gonna happen. It happened already. That's why I keep telling it happened already.
Yeah.
All right, cool, Coach. Hey, appreciate you coming on. We got to get back on at the end of the Frozen Four next year. Hopefully, you get a national title in soccer and hockey. That'd be awesome.
Man, that's the goal. That's the goal. Awesome. Bring the rings, man. Bring the rings.
Real quick before we get off, how deep were you guys last year with soccer and hockey? Where'd you guys end up?
So I had soccer. My last year with them was 2021.
That was a while. Okay, I thought you still coached them. Okay.
No, and that year we won conference outright and tournament, and it was awesome. They're going to do the same thing this year. I'm really excited for them.
Nice.
Still in touch with the coaches, and I think that they're really building something special again for this year. I'm very, very excited for them. And this year with hockey, I think the women are set up for success. The men are so gritty. There's such a good team environment, good team culture. And I think we can make a big run. Like the Big Ten is so hard. They've got so many dogs. Every single team has so many dogs. But something I love about Penn State is that we're kind of like a blue collar mentality, feeds into that grit.
Put your hard hat on and get the work.
Yeah. I mean, we will outwork some dudes. I promise.
I love it. Who won the Big Ten last year?
Minnesota. Yeah.
Oh, they're like chronically like winning championships. Yes. That's like people go to Minnesota. What else? Boston College.
Yeah, Minnesota, Michigan might have won the tournament last year. They went to the Frozen Four. Minnesota went to the Frozen Four. So a couple teams are rebuilding a little bit, new coaches
Okay.
around the league. So it's going to be a fight no matter what. No matter how good you think you are or how bad you think you are, everybody's good.
Hey,
we got to fight.
You're one check away from shattering the glass and ending up in the crowd, man.
Right. Right.
Awesome
No doubt.
stuff. Well, hey, good luck to you rest of the year. Hope the summer training goes well into the preseason, and I hope you guys dominate. Guys
Awesome.
and girls
Thanks, man.
dominate the hell out of it.
I really appreciate you.